Money doesn't just come from one place. It drips, trickles, flows, and floods into our lives in different ways. Welcome to Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood, a podcast that explores the power of multiple income streams. We've got merch. That's right. Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood t-shirts are officially here, and they're as comfy as they are conversation starting. Grab yours at the link in our show notes. All right, everybody, we are super thrilled to have with us today Bob Pierce. He is the owner of Southern California Grill Cleaning and Repair. I'm really excited to learn more about this business because it sounds pretty genius. So thank you for joining us, Bob.
Oh, my pleasure, Melissa. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Bob. Yeah. In addition to doing the grill cleaning, Bob has been, I don't know, I want to call him a bit of a master of kind of the drip, trickle, flow, flood world here, even though he was doing it before I even came up with the idea. So pretty neat how this all came together. So
and the two of you have some history, right? You two know each other?
Absolutely. Yep.
We do. Our wives are besties.
Yes. Like grew up together.
Yeah. Besties
since day one.
Lindsay just yelled kindergarten. They've been besties since kindergarten. Lindsay just yelled from the background.
Oh my God. That's some lore. That's some definite lore. That's cool.
Yes. So Bob, why don't you, let's back up a little bit and just kind of paint a picture how you started to create your current world, where you work now, how you started the grill cleaning business, and just, how that all took shape.
Sure. So I work at Marathon Oil Refining here in Carson, and the shift that I'm on, we work 7 days out of 14. So I have a lot of time off and had a lot of time off and was looking for something else to supplement my income there. And I just like hobbies. So I really started the business as a hobby. It was supposed to be just me, maybe doing 4 or 5 grills a month. And I got the idea because I saw a truck driving by one day that said, I think it was South Bay Grill Cleaning, who's one of my friendly competitors here in Torrance. And I thought, God, that's a really great idea. And so I started just planning it. I took my time. I looked for domain names, looked what other people out there were doing, and there were not that many businesses doing grill cleaning when I started this. So I started the plan in 2019, before COVID, and just did some research, looked for what other people were doing, what the pricing was. I found my domain, built the website on my own, built my Google business profile with a goal of launching in January of 2020. And that's what I did. I did Google ads, which I knew nothing about. I didn't know. So I created my own ads using, I forget what the program was back then, like the AdWords, but it was different. They made it really simple for me to do, luckily, because I was a newbie. And then I launched, and everyone thought that I was crazy. They, who's going to pay someone to clean their grill? We just clean grills on our own. Everyone that I knew, they're not afraid to go out and get their hands dirty. I said, I think there's a little money to be made here. And the first couple of months, calls trickled in a little bit, not much. Come March, it was like someone flipped a switch. And I went from the 4 or 5 jobs a month that I thought that I was going to get to 10 or 11 jobs in a week. It was way more than I could handle. And so it was either, okay, dial back or lean into this, hire some guys, and let's turn this into a business from a hobby. And I chose turn it into a business. I leaned into it. I hired a couple of guys and have just been steadily growing ever since.
So a lot of the questions that Melissa and I get is, okay, I've got my full-time job. How do I come up with the mental space and the time and all of that to take on this other thing? And obviously you had a job that they kind of lended itself for that, although it's not like working for 7 days straight, often probably
Correct.
strange hours. It's not like you're like, oh, I have tons of energy that next week. There's a bit of recovery there. But how did you say, okay, instead of just taking that 4 or 5 grill cleanings a month, and that'd be a nice little side hustle and you'd get a little income, saying, all right, I'm going to lean into that next step, which is hiring people, which comes with all sorts of, complications to a business.
Yes. So, uh, luckily the job that I you're right, it has weird hours. It's a rotating shift. So I will work 3 sets of 12-hour days, have a couple days off, and then work 2 days of 12-hour nights, and just keep rotating that. And there's also a little bit of downtime at work. The nature of the job as an operator that I was doing was we'd have some free time during the day. So I would work every day on my day off. And on days when I was working nights, I would go out and do cleaning jobs. When I woke up in the morning, I go do jobs. One, if I was really quick or it was a short job, I could do 2 of them. And then I go to work on the night shift and then come home and sleep. And that first 2 years it was a lot of work. It was, not easy. And I was the scheduler, the marketer, the accountant, the human resources department, the ordering department, and labor. I mean, I was wearing all of the hats, and it was not easy. So after a while, I realized I need some help. I hired an outside vendor, a third party, to run my Google ads. And my website was okay, I think, for what I could do. I think I got the domain from not GoDaddy, but one of those other ones, and just built it using their tool. And so, I had pictures in there. It was I thought it was good, but I hired someone else to do a better one that maybe wasn't as clunky, looked a little better when you opened it on a mobile phone, because that's where everyone does their web searches from. And then tied in some online booking. And so I had someone else do that. I was still answering the phones though and booking jobs, but I was going out less. So I needed more time off the tools and on the phone and securing work. And
So
it was tough. There's no substitute for work. You got to put in the time and the hard work.
I love that. Well, and you just glossed over 2 years of you saying you were doing the marketing, the accounting, the grill cleaning itself, whatever else was on that list. How did you develop those skills? How do you learn that stuff?
So I had experience before I came into this. I ran a law firm for 10 years of me running it. So I had the accounting experience that went along with that, and also kind of the ability to talk to people. So that was where the customer service and booking part of this came in. Is I know how to speak to people, to kind of sell a service. That's, working in the law firm, I was selling our service to a customer, or selling a client's case to an insurance company. And a lot of it I was learning as I went. I mean, as far as grill repair goes, I knew nothing coming into this. Like I'm not a very hands-on person. I'm not mechanical. I did not grow up working on cars. I worked in offices for 20 something years. So I knew how to type really good. I could write a paper. I could do some research if you wanted, but I was not really good with my hands. So YouTube was a fantastic resource for learning how to work on that. But the best resource I had was hiring someone who knew what they were doing. So I hired a guy who had done this before, who was mechanical, who could fix anything. And I just went with him. And, if it was a tricky job and he knew it, I just followed what he did. And I learned that way. And then once you learn, barbecues are not that complicated. Once you learn, even, the $35,000 barbecue does the same thing as the $350 barbecue. They take gas from point A to point B, and they put a spark on it somewhere in between, and it lights up, and then you cook food. Once you understand that, and then what happens in there, repairing and all of that just becomes, knowing what part to order. So, answer your question in a long-winded way. I was learning as I went for half of the stuff. I knew accounting, I knew QuickBooks, and I knew how to book. But even picking the right software, Tony, at first when I was doing it, it was just Google contacts. So I would add someone as a contact, then I would add their job to the calendar, and then I was sending them an invoice that like I created. It was just a form that I used, and they would pay us however they paid, cash, check. And then I had to set up a way for them to pay by credit card, because that's what people want to do, pay by credit cards. And so over time, I'm like, there's got to be an easier way. And then marketing. I'm a marketer's dream, right? I hear something and I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I hear an ad on the radio for Jobber. Like, let me jump onto Jobber and see what this is about. And I was hooked. I'd get in there and I see that you can bring customers in, create estimates, do invoices, create jobs. The whole thing is all included. And then I became a master of that just by using it. And that was key to really kind of taking my business from sort of the beginning infancy phase to, all right, now we're really going to be a business. People are getting automated notifications. They're getting professional looking estimates that they can approve online. Like, we really look like a business, and just some guy who's working out of a storage unit, which is what I was, but I looked like it was more sophisticated than that.
And do you still have both of your revenue streams now? Do you have the business and you're still working full time?
I do. And in fact,
Wow.
So the job at the refinery, the money there is too good to leave. It's a great job and I enjoy it. It is a lot of fun to do. And I've taken on more responsibility there, but I don't want to get rid of this business. I love doing just maybe the challenge, or just the challenge of making it grow. Every year we get bigger. Every year we're doing more. We're getting more customers. We're expanding the services that we offer. We're making relationships with vendors and manufacturers. And I love that part of it, seeing it go. But what I had to do was bring on a partner. With all this growth, I can't handle it anymore. And so I had hired, who is now my partner, but I hired him as a technician. His name is Rohan Modi. And he was younger, 26 years old, but he sounds like he is so mature and, knew what he was talking about. I hired him off of Indeed and just did a phone interview, and I'm like, you're my guy. He had experience in appliance repair. He had done some traveling around the world, like doing just different kind of jobs here and there, and just sounded really good. And he transformed my business. This is another, chance meeting for him, and it worked out for both of us because he's the one who is driving the business now. He went, most of my technicians were doing maybe 2 jobs a day. He's getting 3, maybe 4 jobs done because he's fast, efficient, like figured out ways to do things quicker, and he can fix anything. So after about a year, I'm like, hey, let's bring you on board. I want you as a partner with this. Let's grow this thing together. And that's where we're at now. He's the operations manager. I handle a lot more of the back office stuff. And he does the day-to-day. We still both go out and do jobs. I did a repair job this morning, just because it's rare, but if there's no one to do it and the job needs to get done, him or I will go out in the field and handle it.
Okay, so I have a question because you seem like you have a lot of skills, certainly in marketing and all other types of things. But one skill that's I think really standing out to me and is a struggle for a lot of people that we've spoken to or just people that Tony and I know who have businesses is building a team. And it seems like you are very good at that, in a fairly short period of time as well, because the business is still newer, and you seem to be finding like this great person that you turned into a partner, but also just your team in general. So
Sure.
I'm curious, like, what is your experience with that? Do you have any tips to share with our audience around that? Because that is a real pain point for people.
It still is a real pain point for me. It is uh, 80% luck and 20% persistence for me. I went through, um, there's a saying, you got to go through blah, blah, blah to get to blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the saying, but I went through a lot of bad hires to get to the team that I have now. Um, at first, my very first hire was a friend of a friend. And he ended up, there were some bumpy patches there, but he was a good worker, hungry to work. And so he worked for me for a year and then told me one day I'm leaving. I'm going to go start my own grill cleaning business. And I was crushed. I felt betrayed. I was angry. But then I also thought, well, I mean, what else is he going to do? Like, why wouldn't he do that? Everyone's, I was fostering that. I was kind of making it easy for these guys to do that because the work is not that hard. And so I'd already had another guy and then I hired someone else. And then 6 months later, the second guy that I'd hired says, Bob, bad news. I'm going to go open my own grill cleaning business. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, he goes. And so now I have someone else. Um, the first 4 people that I hired left and started their own grill cleaning companies.
Well,
Of those, what's that?
imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
That's what I think. And one of them straight up ripped off my website. Like you go to his website, it's the same color scheme, practically the same wording on it. Like, and the first guy, I'm Southern California grill cleaning. He chose Los Angeles grill cleaning. Like, I mean, just all very much similar. And I get it. They don't want to put thought into it. And they don't run their business like a business. They're one-man shops. There's no insurance. Some of them, I don't think take credit cards. There's plenty of business here in California for all of us. I talked to other grill cleaning company owners and we share tips. We talk about, what we're doing for hiring, just how things go. They're not afraid. I called one guy up. I'm like, hey, I need to get insurance. Where do you get insurance? Because I'm having a hard time finding someone to write a liability policy for what we do. Because it's such a new field and it's very localized. You're not going to find grill cleaning companies in Montana, I don't think, because the weather there is not really conducive to it. And it's a luxury service. I mean, not everyone is willing to pay $400 to get their outdoor barbecue cleaned when you can go buy an outdoor barbecue at Home Depot for $350. So you got to have the right audience and the right customer base here. So we've got all the beach cities, Beverly Hills, Hollywood. Those are the people who are hiring us. So getting back on track with the hiring people, it was not easy. I started going word of mouth to friends, and I went to Craigslist. Okay, I got horrible people. That's just
Craigslist is everybody's dream place to find employees. I tell you,
it
been
I
there.
thought it was, but I didn't know. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I was trying to hire. So after a couple failed attempts, and I got guys. And the thing is, we're kind of a seasonal business, so I start hiring around February, right? I have always have guys that work over the winter with me because I have enough to keep some people busy. But I start hiring around February, ready for them to start in March or April. By the time May rolls around, even if they were crappy now, to hire someone else, train them up and get them out. May, June, July, August, that's our money making months. Like, so whoever I had by then, I felt like I was stuck with them. That's who I was going to have. So I switched my hiring I went to Indeed, which is a little bit better than Craigslist. You're finding people who aren't going on looking for roommates or free dressers or anything like that happen to stumble on your ad. They're actually looking for work. And that's where I found Rohan. And when I hired Rohan, we were doing phone calls, and I just did phone interviews and said, okay, you're hired, let's meet. And then we would meet, and with him, it worked out. It worked out with a couple other guys, but we quickly decided we need to see people in person. And so we would do video interviews, but I still had no home office, like a shop. I didn't have a shop. I was working out of my house. I had a storage unit where we would keep materials and tools and equipment. So we would do video interviews and then meet guys in person. And the team that I have now, we did that. We did the video interviews. We ended up expanding. Now we have a shop that we sublease from a metal fabrication guys. We've got about 1,200 square feet of space, so we can meet people in person now. So right now we have 5 technicians and me and Rohan. And then I just brought my wife on board as our scheduler, customer service organizer. She got laid off from her job almost a year ago, and looked around, and I kept telling her, come on, I need you. I want you. And she was, I don't want to put it all on. Well, what if the business fails? And what if this? I'm like, look, I've been in business 5 years. It's not going to fail. Like this business is successful. It's going to go. So she probably was like, you know what? You're right. Let's do it. So she's on board now. So there's 8 of us. I did at one point use a virtual assistant. So last year for scheduling, we went through a virtual assistant agency in the Philippines and hired a wonderful young lady named Anne to answer our phones, do kind of back office stuff, organization. She helped with payroll. She helped tracking incoming things, and very cost effective. The distance became a bit of a challenge. So talking on the phone, there was a problem. Her English was good, but not solid. Like you knew you were talking to someone in the Philippines when you spoke with her. I got feedback from some customers that they weren't thrilled with that. But she also did great communication through text and everything else. So we're still building out our team. We hired now a new marketing company. They do our website, Google ads, Facebook ads. And we just hired an accounting firm to do our bookkeeping. So I'm growing. The more money I make, the more I spend, but we're getting to the point where we're going to be a real contender with the big guys out there. There's a couple of companies who are like big, solid grill cleaning companies that are also selling grills and doing service work and things like that. That's who we're starting to compete with.
I want to unpack. You've touched on some just great stuff here, and talking about building that team out and what that looks like, and hiring those employees that then go on and try to be your competition. And I've dealt with that over and over and over and over again. And, always a little bit of train your competition. And, you try to mentally handle it by saying, imitation's the best flattery or whatever, but it's still, a sucker punch. But like you said, right? You said you just kept staying the course and doing everything the right way and providing a quality service. And, making it easy on your customers to pay and to find you and to keep improving that. And I think that's where people really need to be mentally. Is there's always going to be competition. And if there's a market where there is money to be made, then people are going to be entering that, whether it's people that come out of your business or if they just come out of the woodwork. You need to understand that if you just keep doing things better than everybody else, then the rest will take care of itself. And it can be defeating when you're battling those things, but just being persistent with that. And then just that whole thing of you're building your team in a couple of ways, right? You're building it with actual individuals that are working as an employee of the company, but then you're building your team by delegating to these other companies that are, specific in that, right? And they're growing their business by hiring you, and you're partnering with them. And that's a real, it's a smart thing to do. Everybody has a hard time saying, well, I don't want to spend X, I don't want to do this, but the cost of mistakes and the cost of not providing a good service, it might cost you a few bucks to get those things dialed in, but it can cost you your entire business if you're not able to execute.
For sure.
And then
Definitely.
the other thing is just, oh, go ahead.
Well, I would say you talk about providing a good service and how to deal with the competition. Anyone can clean a grill. It is not a specialized skill. Anyone can do it. So what I impress upon the technicians who are out there is they are the difference between us and another company. Giving the customers a great experience, being friendly, personable, talking to them, that makes all the difference in the world. And that's these guys that I have, I get constant feedback about how nice they are. If you read our reviews, they'll call them out and say what a pleasure they were to work with. And then on top of that, when they call us, they're dealing with Nancy. My wife she's so great at customer service and making people feel heard and doing a great job. And then when we do get a complaint, we address it like right away. If there's a problem, you're not going to wait 2 weeks for us to go back out there. Someone's coming back out there tomorrow. We're going to address that complaint. If it's a big complaint or a loud complaint from someone, I'm going, or Rohan's going, or we're both going, and we'll deal with it. And being able to keep your cool, recognize that my company has made a mistake, own that mistake, and then correct it, that goes a long way with people. I've got on Google, I have one bad review, just one out of, I think I'm close to over 390 now. I just got my first 1-star review, and I felt it. It was like a month and a half ago, and I talked to this guy. I told him, I'll give your money back. You're dissatisfied. This is before he said he was going to write me the bad review. I told him, I will give you back your money. No, you need it more than I do, he said. I said, let me have someone else come back out there. We'll fix it. No, I only give you one shot. I'm just going to go write you a bad review on Yelp and Google. So, well, I don't know what else I can do for you, pal. I offered you your money back. I offered to fix the problem. If you got to write me a bad review, you have to. And people will see 1 5-star and 394 1-star and 394 5-star reviews. And I think they'll be able to make up their own mind about what our service is like.
Yeah, it says a lot more about the reviewer than it does the company.
Yeah.
Particularly when they don't
For
want to
sure.
solve the problem. So it's and often what I'll find is those folks often have a pattern. So if you click through and look at their other reviews, a lot of times there'll be a bunch of 1-stars for different businesses, and like their account exists to just complain versus being like a
Use it as
credible
weapon. That's
reviewer.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and the reality of any business that involves humans, which so far is still, I think, every business, although we might be trending away from that. But humans are going to make mistakes. And so then it's how do you handle those? Some of the most loyal customers I've ever had is when something didn't go perfectly, and then we address that, and they said, man, if these people are going to stand behind what they say, and make things right, then I'm going to call them every time. And then the other
Yeah.
reality of business is you're going to run into buzzsaws. And some people don't want to be happy. They don't want it made right. They just have nothing better to do than cause other people heartache. Okay. So you identified this niche, you figure out how to make it work, you've grown this business. Who the heck is hiring you to come out and clean a grill? And what does that process even look like? Because my grill is not worth paying someone to clean. Although I've installed grills that justify someone coming and cleaning. So, where are you finding this market that, that this kind of business can exist? And then what does it look like when you actually go out and do the service?
So we go primarily, we're the upper level of income in LA. So we're going to the beach cities. Most of our new business comes from our Google ads. That's where people are searching. I tried Yelp. I did not like Yelp. Google ads is where we get most of our business. And it's literally people, I'll hear all the time, I had no idea that this service even exists, because people just don't know. It's kind of that new. So they call us up, and Nancy will answer the phone, or me or Rohan, and hey, I need my grill cleaned. We've got our pricing is standardized. So we base our price on the size. You've got a 32-inch grill, it's this much. A 36-inch, 42, all the way up to 54 is the biggest grill that we've seen. And we give them pricing right there on the phone. Sometimes it's, whoa, that's way more than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to shop around. Most of the time it's, hey, that's great. When can you come? And we get them on the books, and we get out there. And I've seen some unbelievable homes, like homes that you see only in movies. The size and scope and the location. You guys you remember last year, Pacific Palisades burned to the ground here. It was a big fire. Pacific Palisades is a very wealthy area. We probably a third of our business. We had more business there than any other location, for sure. That zip code 90272. That was where we went the most, and so we had a lot of customers that lost their homes in that fire. Those are the people who are hiring. People who have enough money to buy an expensive grill, and they don't like to get their hands dirty. It's filthy work, and when I say filthy, I mean, it's just, I would come home with my arms covered in grease. I would have to, as soon as I walk in the door, just, it's like decontaminate myself before I could even walk to the shower to take a shower. Nancy was like, oh God, just get it all off outside. Make sure that you do this. And so people don't want to do that themselves. I get a lot of customers that call and say, oh, I tried to do it myself, but it's really hard. It's a process that we do. Power tools, degreaser, and a steam cleaner. Takes what should be a 7-hour job, and we can knock it down into about 3 hours. And my guys have gotten really good at it. They know how to take just filthy grills and make them shine. It's wonderful. So we get out there, we lay down protection. That's the other thing, is it's not just the grill that's nice. People will put white limestone as a countertop around this greasy, filthy grill. So we got to protect that, make sure that we're not leaving a huge mess from it. It's can be challenging at times, for sure.
It's also pretty genius, your client base, because as somebody who's worked in entertainment and lived in LA for a long time, the reality of, and that's the epicenter of where commerce is often coming from. It's either you work in entertainment or like adjacent to it. And
Yes.
the expectation in those industries, and or just the way that the job rolls out, is you're often working 70, 80-hour weeks. So people there are more often accustomed to paying for things like this, for grill cleaning, house cleaning, etc. Simply because, yes, they have the disposable income to do so, but also they don't have any time. You
Nope.
don't have much of a life outside of your work. So when you are not working, you certainly don't want to spend it cleaning. So if you have the money to pay for it, you will. So it's a genius business and a genius area for sure, because yes, that will thrive there.
And then once they hire us, we do a good job. They just know I'm going to keep coming back to you. We have lots of celebrity clients, um, and they like celebrities that own a home. So we have one. She's got a house in Hollywood, but she also has a home up in Ojai, which is 2.5 hours from here. We don't go to Ojai. For her, we go to Ojai. We tell her, hey, look, we're happy to go up there. And she's like, I'll pay whatever it takes. So we just charge additional travel fee because it's going to take our guy 2.5 hours to get there. We got to pay him gas too. And it's good. Like, we're their go-to people. I also have people, for that customer in particular. She has a house manager, a property manager. We have property managers who have left her and gone on to manage other properties, but they keep our number because the experience has been so good. And I think we found the sweet spot with these folks too. We've automated our advertising and marketing so that, I can book them a job now. When that job's complete, 11 months from now, they automatically get an email that says, hey, it's time. Let's schedule you again. We also offer service plans where we're just automatically coming out quarterly for some folks. We have one customer who's got us coming out monthly to clean their grill because they got a professional chef. He cooks on it every single day, and he wants his grill to keep looking brand new. So it
So
runs
then
the spectrum.
talk a little bit more about that, Bob, because that's also a really great point, is the way that you have your services set up to where there's like a VIP package, right? Where you're coming out monthly versus individual, and how that would speak to a certain customer base for sure. Like, they want the VIP option. You're not going to get the celebrity clients unless you have that option, because they're looking for discretion and they're looking for something elevated. So talk a little bit more about like how you decided to do that.
So the first software that we used, Jobber, didn't have this capability. Jobber was very good and I liked it, but then I got contacted by a rep from House Call Pro, which is the app that we're using now, the service software we're using now. They have this feature called a service plan that I thought, oh, this is great. This can help us through the slow months. So we'll set people up on a monthly payment plan. So typically they don't want to do it yearly. This is more for people who want it twice a year, 4 times a year, semi-monthly, and then they're just paying a monthly fee. So we bill their credit cards every month. And now we've got income in the off time, and we're getting more and more of these. But like you said, some people want their grill cleaned every year. Some want their grill cleaned quarterly. They see how good it looks and they have us out. We have some people who have us out yearly, and it looks like they've cleaned their grill 3 times or used their grill 3 times in that year. But they know that this is just when we do it. It's May, we call SoCal Grill Cleaning, and we have them come back out. But having this the tiered plan. So we played around with names and how to do it. Like, this is your bronze, silver, gold, platinum. In the end, we just went with, yearly, semi-annually, quarterly, and that seemed to work. But we've got it set up so that they can see. We just punch in the normal cost, and we have a spreadsheet that'll calculate what their monthly payment would be, what the savings is, and what the total annualized cost is. And we send that to them, and they can see right there, black and white, oh, I'm going to save, if I do this quarterly plan, I'm going to save $450. It's basically getting one free cleaning a year if we just break it up into these annual payments or these monthly payments.
This is, I mean, feeling a bit of a master class in business. And it's funny because we started out with, oh my gosh, I have, this full-time job, and started with this little idea that, has grown and grown and grown. And then as you've been talking, all these things that you went through and all these steps, you were very eloquently kind of given the recipe out. We've been chatting for, I don't know, about 40 minutes here, and you just keep every level of how to start the business, how to push through, how to work, how to grind, how to learn, and then, hire your team. And then now you're talking about fostering those relationships and maintaining and setting up a business that is sustainable year round and all those things. And it's really, really impressive. I hope listeners, go back and listen again to this and really take notes. If you're someone that's thinking about starting a business, doesn't have to do anything with grill cleaning, right? I mean, Bob is in a very specific part of the country that allows for this to be a thing. I'm sure, maybe down in Florida, and I'm sure there's some other places in the country that allow for this, but there's not everywhere is this, but whatever your business is, these pieces that you're creating, really are the foundation of a business, that customer service, the building the good team, and then finding ways to create income streams year round. If you have anything else you want to say about that, you certainly can. Before you get out of here, we have a lot of creatives that listen to the podcast. And so I want you to tell us about you recording audiobooks.
Ooh. Oh, twist.
So I did, like I mentioned, I started this business because I like to do stuff. I like to try new things. And so again, when I had all this free time working at the refinery, and I had been told I would, read something, or someone's like, wow, your voice, you sound like you should be reading audiobooks. And I'm like, I love to talk. I love to read. I'll try that. So I went and I went to this company that they claim to teach you how to do it. They didn't teach much. The greatest benefit from it, though, was they gave me a chance to go into a recording studio and record a demo tape of doing commercials, actually. That was a great experience. I got this demo tape, but I really wanted to do audio or any kind of voiceover work on 16, around that time. And I'm like, oh, Audible, I can do this. So I already had the recording equipment, and I just started doing auditions for books in my room here. And I would take anything. Some I had to do under a different name because it was very adult topic, where I'm like, no, I don't want my mom or kids hearing me reading this. But a lot of it was, I would find people who, it's a whole business. People will write the book or pay someone to write the book and then pay me to do the audiobook part of it. And they've got a formula. They need it to be exactly this amount of time. And so I did those. And then I got with another company, who it was paying more, and it was great. I think I've done like 40 to 45 books, and it was a lot of fun. I just, I started this business, and I boxed up my recording equipment and put it away. As much as I love doing it, I had to pick one, and the grill cleaning, I think, pays a little bit better, and it's just hard. Now there's a lot of people, and I love audiobooks. I listen to them all the time. Have you guys heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl? The audiobooks, and now they're books,
I don't think
but
so.
the guy who does the narration for Dungeon Crawler Carl is out of this world. They're crazy. If I were to describe what the premise of the books are to you, you would laugh and think, who's listening to this? It's huge right now. Look it up. You will not be disappointed if you
All
try
right, we're gonna
listening
look
to
it
those
up.
books.
I don't think I'll be
it-
shocked because I also write under a pen name. So, so I understand there are
well,
some very interesting. I was for a second, I'm like, have you voiced my books? But no, you stopped before I started writing them. So,
I
but you
did
do have a good voice
like
for that.
So I wanted to
billionaire.
bring it up.
It was like the Billionaire Bad Boy Club, and
Oh yeah.
from the other one. What was a motorcycle show? Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of
So
Anarchy.
around the time Sons of Anarchy came out, there was a whole bunch of like motorcycle
Yeah.
gang romance novels that
That's still around. That's still a hot vertical. It is
and
a big
I
deal.
didn't realize when I first did it that I was going to have to narrate from two different points of view. I was reading
Yeah.
the guy, and then I get to the next chapter and it says Charlotte.
Yes.
I got to sound like a girl now. And I don't have a feminine voice. And my idea of a feminine voice was to talk like Scarlett O'Hara. Oh my Lord. He walked in the room and I just didn't know what to do. And I listened back. My wife, when I did that voice, she knocked on my door. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh,
Like, I have to make this dual POV work.
Yes, it was very funny. But doing audiobooks is a lot of fun. And I would definitely go back into it too, especially when I hear this guy doing the Dungeon Crawler Carl books. I'm like, I really need to get back into this. He has so much fun doing it, and you cannot believe it's one person creating all these different voices and identities. He's wonderful.
Well, now I have to listen to this.
So I wanted to bring this up, one, because it's just another side hustle. There's a million ways to make a buck, excuse me, that you can do while you're doing your other job, while you're trying to reach your goals, all these things. And then the other reason I wanted to bring it up is because there's a solid chance, right, that there's going to be a recording that nobody knows about, because it's going to be Melissa's pen name and Bob's recording name, and no one will ever know, but there's going to be this collaboration that happens behind the scenes.
That's right.
That would be cool. Yes.
It's like, it's
Yes,
fun to
I
have a
would love
secret
it.
life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Bob, this was so much fun. I love the twist at the end of the audiobook narration in all of these
Yeah.
kind of fun subgenres. So I hope that you come back to that someday. But thank you for truly a masterclass on starting and running a business, because I'm going to go back and listen to this as well and take notes. And everyone, as Tony said, should. There's just so many great nuggets in here. So we really want to thank you for taking your time to join us today, because this was a fabulous episode. And
My
for
pleasure.
anyone else who enjoyed this episode, please rate and review on your favorite podcast platform. That helps us to reach more listeners just like you. And with that said, we'll see you next time on Drip Trickle Flow Flood. Thanks, everybody. And thanks again, Bob.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.